7 ways to grow your Beehive newsletter according to the co-founder of Beehive. What's up guys? So in this video I want to share with you this tweet that I recently came about from Tyler, the CEO of Beehive, who shared a few ways that you could grow your Beehive newsletter, since he might know a thing or two, since his newsletter has grown to a lot and is making decent money, right? But before we start, I do want to take the time to, if you're thinking about starting a newsletter, right, for yourself or for business, right, and you're just looking for platforms to use, right, I highly recommend you guys go check out Beehive, right? The platform is right now is giving you, I've been using it for like 3 years, right, and I don't plan on switching anytime soon, right? And if you click the link below, so this one right here in the description below, right, you'll get 30% off for the next 3 months. And yeah, just this is how it looks. And yeah, it's my go-to email service provider. So yeah, again, if you're thinking about starting a newsletter, I recommend you guys go check out Beehive, and you can click the link to learn more. All right, back to the video. So let's check out the tweet that he shared, and so here's the tweet, right, that he shared, right, his Twitter thread. And so let's break it down by parts, right? So we'll go deep dive, right? So the first one is stop looking for solo burden, right? So like, you have to just test and be consistent and just try things, to grow your newsletter, right? So an example that he shared, right, is set the teaser, right, on LinkedIn or X, right, before the newsletter goes out, right, which is a great way to grow a newsletter, right? So if I go to my first section right here, right, so here are a few other ways that you could do to grow your newsletter, right, other than just teasing your newsletter, right, with using tweets like this example right here, right, by Chanel, right, one of my favorite newsletter operators. There you go, right. As you can see here, she tweets about it like, I profile a newsletter creator who has over 200k subscribers, right, and earns 7 figures, right, and I can't stop thinking about one thing: his onboarding flow. The product guarantees that the first 5 emails you send will be open, right, and then tomorrow a.m. I'm sharing the full breakdown of this detailed onboarding flow, right. She teases her newsletter to you so that you could go ahead and subscribe, right, and then she links the newsletter right here, right. This is a strategy that I have used as well, and it works. Another example, right, is share growth on social channels, right. Here's a tweet on my example, right here. I shared this on X, right. I run a local community newsletter for my city, right. Pretty cool to see that 87 residents have signed up already, right. I think we can get to 100 before the end of May, right. And I share a screenshot of my dashboard, my beehiiv dashboard, right. So again, I'm just sharing this on LinkedIn and on X, right, and this gets hits. A lot of people like to see the behind the scenes, and so highly recommended. Like, I had 10 likes and 3 comments, which was amazing, right. You also want to share what is working, what isn't working, right. I don't have an example of this, right, but you want to just be as open as possible, right. People will connect with you and will probably follow your newsletter because you're being open, you're being human, right. So you want to do that. Next, you want to promote your newsletter on other social channels, right. So like on X, on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, right. If somebody, like, I like to have fun on Twitter, right. So like, promote my personal newsletter, link below, right. Here it is, right. And I retweet this tweet, right. Promote yourself shamelessly, nobody else will do it for you, right. So just having fun and promoting my newsletter right there, right. The other way that you could grow your newsletter, right, let me just move this here, is create content, right. So pin your newsletter to follow-up tweet or a YouTube question or a YouTube description, right. So on X, you could do this by going to your profile, right, and pinning a tweet. Super simple, right. And then another way that you can help grow your newsletter, right, is engage with others on social platforms. Super simple, right. Like on the last week's video, I shared with you examples on what I'm doing on Facebook, right, to grow my local newsletter. And so you could do this as well, right, and start engaging with the people in your niche, in your area, and just link your newsletter to your bio, and people will check out your bio if they find you interesting, and then they'll like click on the newsletter and subscribe probably, right. So let's go to number 2 now. So number 2 he shares is find a recommendation, right. So on Beehive, they have an option to use the recommendation feature, right. So you can find 4 other newsletters that you like, right, or that make sense with your newsletter, right, and you can start to either, you can recommend other newsletters. So when somebody subscribes, right, a pop-up will show up, hey, like, do you also want to subscribe, right. And when you do that, right, the people on the other side of who own those newsletters will see like where those new subscribers are coming from, and they'll see that you're recommending them, right? And then they might do the same to your newsletter, right, as well. Or you can team up. Like I had creators reach out to me and be like, hey, do you want to do recommendation swaps, right? So like, you know, for like a month or something, or 2 months, do you want like, I'll recommend your newsletter, and you could recommend my newsletter, right? Super simple. That I even had a Twitter creator reach out to me and wanted to pay me like on PayPal because I pushed him all few subscribers to him, right? And so, but I did not accept, right? I just wanted to do it, right? Because I thought it was cool. So the third thing is do the math on paid acquisition, right? So ads, right? So if you have the money and it makes sense, first off, that to run paid ads, and run paid ads, right? Also, I will link this as well, so that you can check out the best ads of all time, right? So here's an example from Matt McGarry, like one of the top newsletter operators out there, right? He just shares some cool examples of his newsletter ads, right, that work, right? And so I currently just try to do this, but like not with ads, but like just on Instagram Reels, right, for myself, right, and just do it organically, right, if possible, right? So yeah, if you can't, invest in ads. Number 4 is make a lead magnet, right? Giving away something valuable enough, people will give their email to get it, right? So yeah, so creating a lead magnet is super super helpful to grow your newsletter, right? So you can use tools like Card, right? Card just make it really simple to make a landing page, right? You can sign up for free, right, and like literally create a landing page for your lead magnet, right? And then you could go ahead inside of beehiiv, right, and create a custom form for it, paste it onto Card, right, and then just promote your lead magnet as much as possible on LinkedIn and on X, right? And if your lead magnet is really good, right, people provide you their emails, and you could create an automation to send that lead magnet to them, right? So type of lead magnets that work, right? Ebook, super common, easy to do. You could probably even use AI for this, right? A Spotify playlist, one of my favorite ways. I did this when I was growing a newsletter about newsletters, right? I just collected some interesting conversations of podcasts I listened to when I was learning more about newsletters, right? And just made a playlist and promoted that, and I got a lot of subscribers from that, right? If you're into Notion templates, right? If you have a newsletter on Notion, right? This might be a thing. A video course, right? Maybe you created like this $200 video course, right? And now you want to give it away for free, right? For their email, you could do that. An email course, really popular. You could go on beehiiv, create an automation, right? And then you could have like a email newsletter that runs for 7 days, right? Number 5 is stop using AI to write, right? Newsletters live or die quality, right? The better content is, the more you'll grow, right? Now, of course, like pretty straightforward. I still, like, for myself, I don't use AI to write both my newsletters, right? So for my personal newsletter, I still type it in manually every Thursday afternoon. I just finished it this morning, right? Thursday today. For my local newsletter, I write that Tuesday mornings. I just do that first thing when I wake up. Like, it's one of the hardest things that I had to do, right? I sometimes don't feel like it, but I still do it, right? Because I have residents who subscribe, give me their email, and so I want to send that email out to them, right? But yeah, I just don't use AI to write for both my newsletters, right? Now, I do know examples of newsletters that use AI to write, like Mark Liu. He has a newsletter where he shares startup ideas, right, from Trust MRR, right? And I think he said that he just uses AI just for that, right? Just to curate everything, right? He just gives it a quick look and then just sends it out, right? That makes sense, right? Because he's just curating a list, right? It doesn't really matter, right? But yeah, for my personal, I still just, and my local newsletter, I just use it because, like, for the local newsletter, only I know what's going on in my city, right? Like, I know how, like, the sunset was last night, right? Or like, it just makes sense for me because I'm the one living in the city and I know what I'm experiencing. Number 6, find a consistent content, right? So this is like a common question that even I got when I had my other newsletter, right? How often should I post, right? And he pretty much answers it like, is to provide the most value and stay consistent every single week, right? So again, you just want to find what works for you, right? So if that means posting once a week, like how I do every Sunday morning, or my local newsletter every Thursday morning, do that, right? Then just post once a week, right? Let's just make sure you send out the newsletter every other week, right? I haven't been that good with my personal newsletter recently, but like the last 3 weeks, I think I've sent them out in the last like every Sunday morning. So I'm doing a better job. But my local newsletter, since I started, I haven't missed a single Thursday morning. Like it's gone out, right? It's once a week. Staying on course, number 7, right? So the last thing is just every just staying up ahead, right? Every today you get today, listen to your stories, use your lead mass, send to your friends, right? The longer you show up, the more people feel like you've been on a journey with you. And yeah, it's pretty boring, the last tip, right? But it's true. Like, every time you send an email, right, to your sub, they will feel like they are part of the journey, and you'll also, very important, you'll stay top of mind, right? Like, hopefully the residents in my city who get my newsletter, right, like can't wait for Thursday morning, right, to get my email, right? Or same to you, right, on Sundays morning if you're subscribed to my personal newsletter, right? Hopefully you can't wait for that too. So yeah, that's pretty much it on 7 ways that you could grow your beehiiv newsletter according to the CEO of beehiiv. Hopefully this found useful. If you have any questions, just comment down below and I'll be happy to answer them. I'll try my best to answer those questions as soon as possible. And yeah, if you're thinking of starting your newsletter, you can use my referral link in the description below. And that's it for now, and as always, I will see you guys later. Peace.